Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Triple B Black and Gold Dynasty Show, episode 14. Um, we are here to talk about the recap of the first exhibition preseason game against the Seattle Seahawks from this Saturday night. And actually, my power went out during the second to halftime. So it came back on, but I got to watch the rest of the whole game. But ladies and gentlemen, the Steelers win 62-25 over the Seahawks. Now, this was the first time in the era of Mike Tomlin where he was not coaching Big Ben Roethlisberger. Travis, thanks for tuning in. Jeff Gash, hey Blaystone, thanks for tuning in to the Black and Gold Dynasty where we're talking Steelers. The first time ever, and it was a dawn of a new day. The stats for the game, every quarterback, Mitch Trubisky opened the game. He was 4 for 7 for 63 yards and a touchdown on that opening drive. He looked pretty good. He looked mobile. Hey, Chris. Hey, Ryan. Thank you. As a Ravens fan, Pickens looks like the real deal. Yes, he does. And I hope that he can make your life in Baltimore a living hell. That would be great. But it's still a long season to go. Now, to open up, I'm just going to go through some little bit of quarterback stats. Mason Rudolph was 9 for 15 for 93 yards and a touchdown to Mr. George Pickens. It was a 26-yard touchdown. And then everybody in the second half was chanting for Kenny Pickett, Kenny Pickett, Kenny Pickett. Pickett was 13 for 15, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns, rushed for 16 yards, and actually in the last 3 seconds of the game had a 24-yard touchdown to Tyler Vaughn to ice and win the game for the Steelers. I'm here. Hey, Craig, thanks for tuning in to the Black and Gold Dynasty, episode 14. And I wanted to get this out a little sooner, but today's as good day as any day to talk Steeler talk because there is a lot of stuff. Like I said, Mitch drove him down in the first offensive series and scored a touchdown. And I probably don't know or can calculate how many times that has actually happened in preseason or in regular season. So that is a good thing for the opening drive to go down and score, whether it's exhibition or whether it's real. Because we were 0 for a million in the last couple years. Hey, Louie, thanks for tuning in. So, and I want to take a shout out for the Extra Point podcast last week. Those guys were phenomenal. They know their football, and they talk a lot of it about other teams besides the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I would love to have those guys back on again. They have an open invitation. And also, so does Jim Tiger from Steelers Realm podcast. Those guys always have an open invitation to come on the show. And if anybody's out there that does sports like football talk, wants to come on the Black and Gold Dynasty show, send me a shout out, send me a message. I'll get you on the show and maybe get some of the fans on too, get you guys a link and then get you on and then maybe give your picks for the season maybe. You know, Bubba, for a preseason game, that was pretty exciting, Craig. Yes, it was. So, honestly, the Steelers in the rushing department, Anthony McFarland led the Steelers rushers with, I believe, he had a nice run of 24 yards, I believe. He had 7 attempts for 56 yards. The longest was 24 yards. He looks quick on the outside, and that's something we haven't seen in a long time. Jaylen Warren was 6 for 34 yards. 13 was his longest, and he actually had 4 receptions for 30 yards. And he had a 3-yard touchdown, but he also had a fumble. And I believe during practice this week, he's been having the ball in his hand at all times because that is a no-no in Mike Tomlin. You can get a lot of yards, but if you fumble the ball at crucial times, he doesn't like that. So, and also Master Teague was 6 for 31. 9 yards was his longest in that last drive. He was running the ball up the gut. And where have we seen that lately in the Steelers run? We haven't. But I realize that I read somewhere, and I have it in my notes, that Master Teague has got hurt in training camp the last couple days. Now, the biggest thing was the receiving was Gunnar Osowski. He had 3 receptions for 47 yards, a touchdown. He looked very, very good. And actually, now Ryan said about Pickens. Pickens had 3 receptions for 43 yards and an impressive 26-yard touchdown. I don't know how they're going to cover him. Dante, Claypool. This offense can be very potent, but the hey, JC, what's up, bro? So, like I said, the weakest thing that I did see was the pass protection in the offensive line. And I know JC had some stuff on his Extra Pod Facebook page. And if you guys didn't get to see that, you guys can see all the NFL. And JC says Pickens is our X factor this season. I can agree with you, JC. I love how he is going to be. We have some great receivers. We have so many receivers. Who do you cut? That is going to be the key. But also, too, the Seahawks. Now, our defense, it wasn't the first team. A couple of the first team guys wasn't in there. Drew Lock was 11 for 15 for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. Geno Smith was 10 for 15. He had 101. He had a 9-yard rush for a touchdown. The Seahawks also didn't have receivers DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett, which could have been a huge factor in their lineup. But they, the running back Dallas had 10 rushes for 73 yards. But this is a big, big problem, ladies and gentlemen, in the Black and Gold Dynasty, the universe. This is a huge problem that we had last year. And I know it's preseason, and hopefully the first game of the season, we do not have this. Seattle rushed for 159 total yards at a 6.1 average. That is not good. And I know that there wasn't a lot of first-teamers in there. You didn't have Cam, you didn't have TJ, you didn't have Highsmith, no Minka, okay? But honestly, where was Devin Bush? Ryan says your all receivers are going to be a handful, bro. I don't even like to admit that. And I appreciate that, Ryan, coming from a Ravens fan. I appreciate that, but we got to get on the ball. So we have all these receivers, and if we can't get some pass protection to get the quarterback enough time to throw to our receivers, we're going to be in some serious trouble. And I didn't like the pass protection. That was the pass protection, and the second string run defense was not good for me. And I know they had a lot of players out with injuries. They have a lot of people coming back. The Steelers defense had 3 sacks. The bright spot was linebacker Marcus Robinson had that huge hit on a sack that led us for that winning drive. And actually, the 2 plays before that, recently signed linebacker Rashad Jr. and had his first sack. And the other sack was Henry Modreau. So 3 sacks from second tier. But we also had players that we recently signed had back-to-back plays, on the defense. They had they had a tackle, and then they had a sack. But I've got some sad news, Steeler Nation. We lost safety Carl Joseph because he left with an ankle injury. He is now on IR for the rest of the season, and they were looking for some good things for him as the depth in our secondary is not good. Ryan says, I know this is a Steeler pod, but I'm just a fan of football, but hopefully they reload Ravens secondary and the players stay healthy, continue to make our rivalry the best in football. I hope so too. That is the best rivalry. It's probably prime time. That's why it's been like that for probably the last 15 or 20 years. And I do appreciate you popping on to the Steelers Black and Gold Triple B Dynasty podcast. And I appreciate your football knowledge. Hey, Rich, thanks for tuning in. And hey, look, it's going to be an exciting year in that AFC North. Every game that Pittsburgh plays is going to be crucial to us to get into the playoffs. And Chris Elliott says that was the most enthusiasm I've seen from the Steelers players in a long time. And that was just preseason. So could you imagine the first game of the season where we're going, out to Cincinnati? Because Cincinnati's been kicking our ass for the last 3 games. It is going to be a heavy task. It's going to be a big task. And once we get the depth chart and everything lined up, hey, Beth from Florida, thanks for tuning in. But, I mean, that injury with Carl Joseph was huge. Rich says, I'm here for you, brother. And thank you, Rich. I'd be excited for everybody in AFC North except Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland has a lot of disarray. They lost another center. And Rich is a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan. And we're going to get Rich back on his show when we do a pregame on our matchup that game and get those guys from the Extra Point podcast back on because that was exciting. Those guys know their football. Oh, okay. Recognize. Ryan says, a friend of JC and our football page is a friend of mine. Also, you bring some knowledge and also realize. Thank you so much, Ryan. Yes, JC. JC said he was impressed with all three quarterbacks last week. I was happy to see more. Yeah, I was happy with that, but you guys have to realize like 2 out of the 3 are mobile. Mason Rudolph is not mobile, and that is going to hurt his performances. I believe that line because our pass protection is god awful, and I love Ben dearly. Hey, Bob, thanks for tuning in. I just think Ben would have not lasted, and I was happy when Mitch ran out, and Kenny has that electricity that I haven't seen in a long time. And right now, Kenny Pickett was running with the first team as the last couple days. But also, I wanted to get with this one, and I know Akila Witherspoon had an injury, but I believe he might be out for a couple days. But also, too, JC says he wants to see Pickett start this week. Well, with Jacksonville, that could happen. I don't see nothing wrong with that. I would like to see him with the first team to see how he goes because we could probably have, the quarterbacks that we got are pretty good. Rich says Trubisky's the best bet for this season. Mobile, great release, great play action guy. Give Kenny some time on the bench to learn. Yeah, but it all depends on when the Steeler fans, if Mitch doesn't do something right, how much the cheers that they did Saturday night start flowing. You know what I mean, guys? Deep. Ryan says deep all the way, deep down. All the Steeler fans, in my opinion, want to see baby gloves. LOL blossom. Well, hopefully he doesn't fumble. I don't know, but they also lost Anthony Miller to the season, which I wanted to see Anthony Miller and Mitch Trubisky make that Chicago connection in Pittsburgh. Right, Nick at Baby Gloves is going sweep all the way, just like Ben did. Yeah, Ben did have gloves. That's right. But on Monday, Rich says, I think I'll depend on the record early on. Trubisky has to go 3-1 to keep the job safe over the first 4 games. Yeah. Well, the first game is Cincy, New England. Well, New England guys, and I know you guys know that on your Extra Point podcast, that Malcolm Butler is out for the season. So, us Steeler fans, I'm loving that. I'm loving that. JC, stop it. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and we're going to get you guys back on because last week was phenomenal. It was great. And also Monday, Steelers wavered Tuzar Skipper, outside linebacker, just didn't make the team. He was injured, and they signed outside linebacker James Voltaniers, undrafted free agent in 2015 with the Packers, Patriots, Chargers, Bears, and Falcons. Oh my, he's been everywhere. They're probably looking for bodies. JC said, Master Teague, yes, that's right, got hurt. That sucks. I believe he would have made the 53-man roster. Yeah, that's terrible. I liked how he was running up the gut last week in that drive to get first downs in short yardage situations, and I don't know who they're going to have. Well, I don't know. I mean, Benny Snell. Do we want? I don't want Benny Snell. I think they can cut Benny Snell. I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that. I facts, Bubba Brewer. Yeah, Beth says I like Pickett. I won't be upset with a green light for him. I understand, but I think having a rookie start the season is not what we need because, JC, I don't trust Benny either. I believe Mitch Trubisky looked fine in that offense without a lot of the players, and it's exhibition, it's preseason. And once he gets a little bit more reps with some certain receivers, we're going to be okay. JC says McFarland needs more work. Yeah. Did I miss something about Snell? No, Rick. I just don't think Benny Snell is a quality second-string backup to Najee Harris. That's just my opinion. I think McFarland right now is okay, but I don't think if something happens to Najee Harris, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in a disarray that we ain't never seen in a long time because we can't rely on the arm of Big Ben because we don't have Big Ben, and we would be in serious, serious trouble. And I hope that never happens. I hope he does. He wants 500 touches. He doesn't need 500 touches because this team is Najee Harris's team. We will get into the playoffs on the run-in and on the back of Najee Harris, but we can't overrun him. So, I mean, hopefully you guys agree with that. I would definitely say, that I would not want to. And Jalen Warren, we'll see if he doesn't fumble. That fumble might have caught. He's going to have that ball in his hands at all times. And there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of depth in receivers and running back and tight ends, which I have never seen. Steeler fans, we have not seen this depth in our offensive special weapons in a long time. I don't know who is going to make the last. Well, Anthony Miller would have made the team. He would have made the team. Now that Sims guy who had that 28-yard run, they're looking high on him to make the last receiver spot. I don't know. And then who do you cut? Do you cut Cam's brother and keep Kevin Rader as his third string tight end? There's a lot. No, we're not in disarray, Beth. We're not in disarray. We're okay. But we have a lot. We have some injuries. We've had people put on the IR that I didn't see that coming. Ryan says the AFC North is tough sledding. If Pittsburgh can win and allow the young guy to sit and learn, I think that's what Mike Tomlin will do. Ryan, this division is tough, as you know. If we don't split with you guys and we get swept by you guys, we're fucked. We can't get split. We can't get swept by the Cincinnati Bengals either. Now we all could sweep the Cleveland Browns. I'm okay with that. And JC says all the money was spent. I'm still in shock about it all. Shows we want to win. Yeah, because that signing that $150 million stadium, I think we signed some players that we would never signed anywhere else in a season like this year. They would have never, ever did that. I mean, they did it last year with TJ Watt, but they didn't. They signed, Dante and Boswell and Fitzpatrick. That does not happen. This is a Steeler organization where they're doing different stuff and they're not resting on the laurels of not negotiating, and signing people. Pittsburgh had to go 4-2 in the division for a shot at the playoffs. Yeah, I agree with that. And I haven't gave my picks because I'm going to do like game by game stuff before the season starts, like I've been doing for the last couple years on all my Steeler podcast shows. And I don't know how it's going to be, but I know this week they played at Jacksonville to get some more. Hey, Paul, thanks for tuning in, to get some more reps with some different players and see how it goes. But hey, guys, this mystery linebacker we have, Devin Bush, honestly, I think it was I don't like his attitude, me personally. And I don't know, some of you guys haven't heard, like in the local Pittsburgh media, how he got the interview. He's like, hey, if I can't make it in Pittsburgh, I can play somewhere else. It's not a big deal because, I'm a first team. I came in the first round. I can go anywhere. So not even like an attitude. Well, I got to, get a little better. I got to try a little bit more. Nothing like that. I don't like, his attitude definitely sucks. And he was nowhere to be seen against Seattle Seahawks at all. And we can't have that as a middle linebacker because we're known for middle linebackers. So it's got nothing to do with his knee injury. Hey, Shane, thanks for tuning in. His knee injury. It's been a couple years. Hey, Jody, thanks for tuning in. It's just ridiculous on his attitude. I don't know if you guys know this because, you guys aren't from the Western Pennsylvania area. I would take a fourth round for Bush and call it a day. You're right, Rich. I would. And JC, Miles Jack was a fly, and Bush was looking lost. He was looking lost. His dad called into the local Pittsburgh media and was bashing the Pittsburgh media for getting on his son. Yes, JC, I am also done with Bush. Hey, Greg, thanks for tuning in. like Spillane will be starting. I feel in my heart like this year is going to be the wash. No, 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 Beth. No, 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 no. If 8-8, if we're lucky, no, no, no. You mean 8-9 because we got an extra game. No, 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 no. We're going to have the top ranked defense if we can stop the run, Beth. That having a good defense is going to keep us in some close games, Beth. Okay, I believe we're going to get in the playoffs. I don't know what the record will be because I have to look at all the games. Chris Boswell, when it comes down to it, Beth, you know and I know Chris Boswell, since he recovered from getting broke up from his girlfriend from IUP who broke his heart, he's been kicking field goals left and right and saving games. No, Beth, I believe we will be in the play. We have to win a playoff game. We are 0-5 in any type of things, even if we had the Killer Bees, if we had Ben, if we had anybody. And Shane says the Lions are going to get Rudolph. Yes, that is also speculation, and I would trade Mason Rudolph to the Lions for any type of draft picks for next year. I would let him go because Groff is only by himself. He doesn't have any second stringers backup, and they need a backup. He can only do so much. Hey, Lumberjack, how you doing? Yes, I know they can only do so much, Beth, but we have to get our offensive line and our run blocking a lot better. Now, I believe when I was looking at the extra point, JC's Facebook page of the NFL, I believe Pittsburgh, and JC could quote me on this, I believe the Steelers were 23 online, which I was surprised they were ranked that high. Might as well get some value for Mason. You're exactly right. I wouldn't be surprised if Bush was traded this season. Yeah, I would trade him. I would trade Bush and Mason to the Lions. I would. Hey, Jacob, thanks for tuning in to the Black and Gold Triple B Black and Gold Dynasty episode 14. I got so many goddamn shows I can't remember them all. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and I love this Steeler talk. And I'm trying to get it because I got my Facebook stuff. So the guys from Extra Point Podcast are chiming in. And yes, we will get them back on, and we will also get back on the Steelers Realm Podcast guys, JT and TA and the boys. And if anybody else is in a football podcast, and if you're a Steelers podcast provider, come on, send me a message and I'll bring you on the show because it's great to. No, you're not distracting me. I'm good. I thought they would have us on dead last. Yes, I thought we were the last place offensive line in the NFL because it was just terrible in how we blocked. And if it wasn't for Najee, he was in the backfield and he got 1,100 yards on his own. So what I've seen last week was the pass protection needs work. They have to have some cohesiveness. But they had a little bit of run when they needed to with Master Teague going up the gut, but JC said he's hurt, and I know he was hurt because I had it written down, and I did see that he was hurt, and there's a couple other people that were hurt. But and we also signed Ryan McCollum. We signed him as a center, and he was working with the third team as of today. They're signing people like I can't even keep up with everybody. I don't know how everybody I can't keep up with everybody. They have receivers. They cut receivers. They're adding receivers. They cut receivers. They cut linebackers. They add linebackers. Every other day they're adding people. And I know it's for depth because we need some depth in the defense. But my God, like today, the last 2 days was the first days of training camp that the 7th round pick quarterback, Chris Oakland, actually got some snaps with a team setting. We're almost done with training camp because that tells me if he's getting some team settings, I believe that they're going to trade Mason. Hey, Steele, how you doing? I believe that they're going to trade Mason and they're going to keep Chris, the 7th round pick, on the practice team or keep him as a third string quarterback because I seen him rolling out at practice when I did go. He is very quick, okay? But Mason's just the mobility of Mason Rudolph is like me walking, me running, me doing anything, which I can't do now. And I never could back 20 years ago. And I believe the hit he took against the Ravens when Duck Hodges came in to relieve him, seriously messed him up, and then taking a helmet in the Cleveland game didn't help matters, and he hasn't been right ever since. I mean, I give everybody a fair shake. And before, like when he played in college and lit him up against Pitt, I mean, he threw for 500 and some yards. Him and James Washington was tagging up. Now it's time for him to go because he just didn't have it to me on the game. I mean, it was great that he had a touchdown to Pickens, but it was probably more Pickens than Mason Rudolph. What would they get for him from Detroit? I don't know. Still, I would take a 5th round pick, an extra pick next year. I mean, hey, give me a. He doesn't feel pressure, meaning like, yeah, you're probably right. Myles Garrett would probably whack them every screw in the head fell loose. Detroit wouldn't give much for Mason or Bush. I see them being a mid to late round picks. Yeah, and JC said he's Mason is Landry Jones 2.0. He's worse than Landry Jones, I think, because he had so much. I think he had more talent than Landry Jones. Now, you guys can debate. I believe he did, and I don't know. I really don't know. Oh, I really enjoyed the Pittsburgh Dad shout-out video. That was brought to you by a special field correspondent, Shane Stodmiller, Craig. Don't disrespect Landry like that. Well, I'm just saying, guys. Like, I don't know what we could get, but we could get something. Maybe somebody wants to come out of Detroit. Maybe one of their linebackers would like to come out. I can't believe that I was so high for Devin Bush when they traded up for him, and I was ecstatic, and it was a bust. There's been a lot of busts since Shazier, Artie Burns. I could name a couple. So I don't know. And his attitude's piss poor. And his dad's is a fucking douchebag, calling into the local Pittsburgh radio channels and bitching at those guys for actually doing their job. Hey, Scott, thanks for tuning in. So, but yeah, I mean, we got this game against Jacksonville. Look, I'm not worried about win or losses in preseason. I'm looking for special talent that can make the team. Man, you all are going to get a bag of popcorn and some Cracker Jacks for good old Rudolph. Yeah, well, that might be. Hey, Mike, thanks for tuning in. Jeff Gash, the departure of Ben, I think some guys are going to have to bigger spring in their step to be the talk of the fans and the media. Well, that would be probably Cam Hayward would probably be the guy that talks to all the media, maybe Najee or Pat Freiermuth, I'm guessing. Shazier wasn't a bust. That was an unfortunate accident. No, he wasn't a bust. No. That was a freaky. That accident right there still put their defense back 5 years, I believe. And they haven't got anybody to fill his spot since it happened. And they've been looking and they can't fill it. And it's terrible because we're missing the middle linebacker stuff that we need to stop the run because we can't stop shit. Charlie Batch was a great second string. Charlie Batch was a good quarterback for the Steelers. Rich, he was real good. And he was a great backup. And then, hey, when Ben got suspended, I believe Charlie was 3-1 until Ben came back. I believe, Charlie was good. If Charlie was on this team right now, Charlie would be damn near getting ready to start. I wasn't a Charlie Batch fan personally. He was solid, but I don't know, man. Ryan, don't feel bad before take the field for Ravens. Yeah, it's tragic. Tragic stuff happens to teams. It depends on how they overcome it. And with the Shazier misfortune and that was brutal. We have not recovered, and we just wasted. It seems like we wasted. Trading up for Devin Bush, and his attitude is shitty. Once upon a time, also there was a 4-0. Can't buy into short-term hype. You saw how that went. Yeah, I know. Short-term. I'm not into short-term. I just want to get into the playoffs whenever and just win. I like to see a win. See Tomlin not getting out-coached and not see some freaky kind of situations where we can win one and then go from there. And a solid win, like a whole total team performance in the playoffs, which I haven't seen in a long time. So even when Ben was, and Ben, their own 5. They haven't won anything since 2010, I think, in the playoffs. So that's terrible. But, I appreciate all you guys tuning in. We're going to play Jacksonville. That game is on the local KDKA at 7 o'clock Saturday night against the Jacksonville. And I will do the same thing next week. I'll do a review of the game, and we'll see because training camp is done actually Thursday. They're breaking camp because they're getting ready because my nephew's moving into St. Vincent's. He ran in my nephew TJ ran into TJ Watt down there this week, and TJ said hi to him. So I threw it out there because I told my sister I would. So I would have said, "Hey, my name's TJ too. How about a picture?" But I'm an attention whore. So Beth said Jacksonville always sucks. Well, Beth, I can say that they didn't when they beat us in the last 2 playoff games. The last 2 playoff games we played them, they beat us. Did you watch the pivot with TJ? No, I did not. I'm sorry. I didn't. The only thing I watched this week, guys, is breaking Better Call Saul and wrestling and the Steeler game, which my power went out. And then that's crazy because my power goes out all the time. And I'm trying to do stuff for the podcast, and I had to use my phone to watch. It's catastrophic when the power goes off in Western Pennsylvania. It's terrible. I don't know. Somebody got drunk and hit a telephone pole or whatever. I don't know. I'm signing off. Great pod. Thank you, Rich. Keep up I will. Looking forward to actually having you come on, especially when we go against your Philadelphia Eagles. AJC, thank you so much. I'm going to bring you guys the extra point podcast, guys. Thanks for popping on. I enjoyed your knowledge, your football knowledge, and I will definitely get you guys on. No, they suck to play, I mean. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, Beth, they do suck to play. We don't have a good record against Jacksonville. We never played Jacksonville good. And I hate playing Jacksonville on Sunday nights. I always did because they always beat us. They beat us when we had it, whatever. But I just want to say, and I'm going to get out of here too, but I just want to say, please hit like and subscribe to this show and to the other shows that we have on the Triple B Experience. We do unscripted. We're going to do an unscripted tomorrow, me and Cable, and hopefully Math can get in there and start talking about some stuff we haven't talked about in a while because it's unscripted. And I do appreciate all the Steeler fans and all the NFL fans that have tuned in to the Triple B Black and Gold Dynasty episode 14. I appreciate it. We got almost 930 some likes on our Facebook page. Listen to us on Spotify and hit us up on social media, and also hit and listen to the other guys, the Extra Point Podcast, Steelers Realm Podcast. Listen to those guys too, because it's all a community where everybody is getting along and enjoys talking football, whatever team it is. And I do appreciate that. And I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. And I'm just trying to get the word out because I can't quit my day job. But if I could, I would. But I totally appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hit like and subscribe. Hey, Benjamin, go Steelers. Hit like and subscribe to the Triple B Experience, where you will be able to see this Triple B Black and Gold Dynasty, all the Steelers shows and all the unscripted and all the shows that we do, the interviews that we've done with famous people. And yes, grow the channel. Share the Bubba love, Shane. Thank you, Shane. And once again, thank you to Shane Stodmiller on his vacation of getting the Pittsburgh dad to give us a shout out. I appreciate it, Shane. Shane was my special field correspondent out there in the wild. But everybody, thank you so much. Go Steelers. We're playing Jacksonville Saturday night at 7, not Sunday, Saturday at 7. We're going to see what kind of people can produce, and hopefully nobody gets hurt because it's looking like a mesh 4077 unit right now at training camp, and we don't want that. I want to see some cohesiveness. I want to see it was nice to go down that first drive and score. Let's see if we can do it the second week in a row. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a great night, a better tomorrow. Go Steelers. And thank you guys for tuning in to the Triple B Black and Gold Dynasty podcast show where we're talking Steelers. Thank you guys. Have a great night.